Hey everyone, this is Rob from RuinWorks, here with our latest scene, Clocktower Row. It is a 6th level scene. Right now we're on the rooftops, got a clock tower top, and then you can slowly see as we go down levels, all the buildings start to fill out a bit more until we get down into the cellars. There's not a ton of interactive things going on in this scene, so I'm going to run over the few that there are, and then I'm just going to run a token through the scene just to show you guys how everything works. So first thing, you might see these little stair symbols. I've kind of moved away from the interaction points to transverse levels in this scene, so instead I've used scene regions, which can be found on the left-hand menu, and you can see anywhere there's an orange square, that is where people can transverse levels. And so to indicate that to players, what I've done is I've included this little stair icon wherever there is a level change. So if you just move your token onto those stair icons, that is where they will change levels. So I was hoping it might just be a bit more obvious to players when they will move up a level if they have the stair icon there. There is one exception to this, and that is this ladder where there is still the interaction point and it needs to be double clicked in order for tokens to go up and down, and I'll show you that when I run through the scene with a token. This ladder can also be dropped to the floor. You can see this little drawing note beside it indicating GM to double right click to knock down the ladder. So if you do that on top of the tile, the ladder just gets fallen to the floor. Additionally, this ladder is movable, so if you just take the interaction point, you can move it wherever you want on the scene and knock it down. And knock it down anywhere you want in the scene as well. So that's one, ladders. So that's where the number 2 is. Number 1 is another bit of an active tile here. We can slide this grate on and off of the hole. So you can just use the arrows beside the grate. They're hidden, so only the GM should be able to see them. So you can just double click one. You can hear a small sound play. Double click the on arrow to move the grate back on it. There's 2 locations for the grates. There's one right there beside the inn and one here in the alleyway. Now these don't directly lead anywhere at the moment, but I am planning on making a sewer scene that would go underneath this scene. So depending on where your players enter, they might be using one of these grates to do so. So those are the main interactive portions of the scene. I'll just also note that all of the lights in the scene can be double clicked to turn them on. So if they are a lantern, you just double click the lantern or the lamp and it turns on the light. You can double click to turn it off as well. And then for fires or lanterns that are on the ground, you can use the little white lantern symbol beside them and it'll turn those on and off as well. Now I use this lantern symbol because I couldn't use this big tile that I had placed underneath, because otherwise it would interfere with tiles on other levels too easily. And just to demonstrate what I've kind of done here is each light has a lit variation of art and a dark variation of art. So when you click the lantern on, the light turns on, it also switches the tile there to the lit variation. And I think it does make a difference in how it looks in the scene. So that's for all lights. You can just double click any light you want and it will all light up and change the tiles automatically. Now if you want to do them all at once because you want a nighttime scene, I have quick buttons in the top left here. So if we want to set the scene to nighttime, we can just click on this night button on the outside and you can see the scene darkens and all the lights have turned on in the scene. If we go up different levels, you can see all levels have their lights turned on as well. For ease of use, or ease of showing you guys what else is in the scene, I'll leave it on the day version just to give you a bit of an idea of what's in the scene. I've also labeled certain buildings with these letters. These buildings are described a little bit inside of the journal note, and I'll run over them quickly with you here. So A, you can see in the middle of the map here, is the inn. So it includes a cellar with a secret door, that leads into the sewers. You can see a bit of a ladder leading down into the sewers. Includes a kitchen on the ground floor, tavern on the 1st and 2nd floors, as well as a bridge over to the stables where there's a few inn rooms. And then the 3rd floor is just some more inn rooms for patrons to stay at. So that's building A. Go back down to ground. Beside it, building B is the stables. You can see some stable stalls here. If we go up one level, we can see some storage where food will be kept for the stables. On the 3rd floor or the 2nd level above ground, we have just some inn rooms and a bridge across to get into the inn itself. Going to the top left here, we have building C. So this is the rafters of the warehouse. You can start on the ground first. The ground floor, just storage and stairs leading upwards. First floor, more storage and a ladder to get up to the rafters. And then when you're in the rafters, you can see there's a bit of a pulley system here meant for when these double doors are opened and there's a cart or something running on the street, you can actually, or the workers in the warehouse could lift things up through those double doors using the pulley system to store things on the second floor. Just to the right, we have building D. So on the ground floor here, you can see a locksmith's shop. He's got a bit of a workshop here and a bit of a mini forge where he can work on the locks for either doors or chests. And then up above, he has his own little living space as well. Kind of in the middle of the scene and just below the locksmith's shop, we have the clock tower. Let's go back down to ground. Some double doors to enter. We can see a balcony here that's been set as an overhead tile. Go up to the first floor, climb up the stairs, come up to the balcony, see a couple more storerooms, and then kind of some rickety stairs heading upwards all the way to the fourth floor. Fourth level above ground to where we get to the mechanism room. And you can see kind of the clock face here on this level as well. I imagine this has been kind of broken down. Might not be working currently. I also imagine hanging down in the middle of the stairwell would be counterweights and chains that might be there to help the motion of the clock. And I think it'd be kind of cool if those are kind of swinging back and forth while PCs are traveling up the stairs to get to the top of the tower. So that was room E, or building E. Building F here, we have a bookstore. On the first floor, we have the main storefront. If you go up to the next level, this would be where the store owner would live. We can still just double click on all the lights to have them activate. So that's building F. Building G here is what I call the seamstress's home. So on the ground floor, it's just a kitchen and a bit of living space. And if you go up to the second floor, it's where they sleep. And she's got a bit of a sewing area where she can be doing her work. And just to the right of that on the ground floor, we have this H building room, which I call the apothecary, someone who sells powders, potions, spices, ingredients for different elixirs. So it's kind of a variation of buildings that I put into the scene. All the other buildings here are essentially just living space, so I didn't go into a ton of detail on all of them. Okay, that's about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a token and I'll just run the token through the scene just so you guys can get an idea of how it looks.